thank you to IKEA. They are loving that area today, the play area. Please welcome Nanny Robina, who's with us today to talk about returning back to work. So if you've had parental leave, maternity leave, it can be a tough transition in your mind. You're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get out the door. I'm going to be away from the baby. There's all sorts of things that you're thinking about that might make you a little bit anxious. So let's talk about what you might want to start preparing while you were still on parental leave to make the transition a little bit easier.
Okay, so you know those long leisurely mornings where you lay in bed having coffee with the baby till 9 o'clock?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about, actually. Yes, I do know those mornings.
Yeah. You want to start changing those up. So the first thing is baby schedule.
Yes.
Okay.
Get one.
Yeah, and get them on a schedule to start with. But if, you know, when I go out and I meet clients, they always want, well, I'm on mat leave. Can I have the baby sleeping till 8 o'clock? Well, no, you can't, because mat leave doesn't last forever. It's always good to start early and try and get your baby on that schedule. But if you haven't, you want to take it up a step now. If your baby's used to sleeping late and having a nap at 10 o'clock, none of that is going to be happening. You want to work on a schedule that's going to suit your needs. You're maybe stepping out of the door at 6:30 in the morning. So the first thing you want to do is create that schedule.
So start thinking ahead as to what your life is going to look like when you're back at work. Make the schedule for the baby match that. That might mean playing with their nap schedules a little bit, pushing them a little bit further, moving them up. What's your best advice for moving their nap schedules? Do you just keep them up longer than they're used to?
Well, you know, the thing is, what can happen is, you see, sort of getting onto that sleep thing is, what will happen is if you keep them awake too long, they become overtired. You've got a cranky baby. They become overtired. They don't sleep all night. So you've really got to get that. You've got to look at the age of your baby. How long can she stay awake for while she's happy? And you've got to work that into it. If your baby's getting up at 6:30 in the morning because you're getting ready or you're about to leave the door, then work with your daycare provider. You know, you get there, got up at 6:30. Hopefully your daycare provider, let's say your baby's 6 months, he's got to put her back to bed around about 8:30 so she can have a half-hour nap.
Right.
You know, so that's, you've got to work with your daycare provider with that also.
Speaking of your daycare provider, you're saying actually have a test trial week.
Oh, yes.
Do a test run before you actually get back to work. So a test run of dropping them off, getting them assimilated into a program, seeing how they handle it.
Absolutely. And I think it's not something you can just... I do know someone who did this, and I'm sorry, but I really don't approve of this. And I don't know why it happened, but they dropped the baby off at daycare and left, and that was it. That child did not know that daycare provider, did not know anyone. Okay, and mum's gone. I think it's one of the worst things you can do to your baby. I'll be very honest with you.
It's basically the way we were raised in the 70s.
Yeah. And we moved on from that.
Take my baby. I've got to get back to work.
Yes. You want to have that transition. So you want to stay with your baby, do, you know, a couple of hours in the morning at daycare. You want to start socializing your baby too. If your baby's been glued to your hip for the past 12 months and you're going to mat leave, start getting that baby out of the house. Start leaving him with grandma, stepping away. Work on that separation anxiety that is about to take place.
So you're spending more time away from the baby, even if that is, you know, you're going to do a sleepover at grandma and grandpa's, or you're going to hang out with auntie so-and-so and uncle so-and-so for a while so they can get used to other hands.
They've got to get used to other hands, and they've got to get used to being away from you.
Yes.
And they've got, you know, and that whole transition into, let's say, a daycare or grandma, you want to ease that in slowly, a couple of hours a day, and then leave them there, you know, a bit longer and a bit longer. That's the way you want to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about the food situation, because that also gives moms and dads quite a bit of anxiety. How am I going to plan these meals properly now that I'm out of the house?
Yeah, actually, I just had this question now. I just had a client it was a 4-year-old coming home from school, gone to bed too late, cranky pants, which put him in he was completely off, all out of sorts the next day. I said, can you give me his dinner as soon as he gets in the door? How can I do that? That was the first question. Okay, first of all, the slow cooker is going to become your best friend. Second of all, do not be afraid of making extra the day before, so you can slam it in, you know, warm it up, slam it in the microwave, feed your baby. There are times that you may not be able to sit down as a family every night because you've got to get your child into bed earlier because they're getting up earlier.
Yes.
And that's what I was stressing to this family. Get leftovers. Use some leftovers. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Warm up, get them into bed at 6 o'clock. You and Dad have dinner later.
You're also saying get into the routine of doing the chores before bedtime so that you're organized for the next day.
I think so. Not only so you're organized the next day, but what you find is come the weekend, the quality time that you should be having with your children is spent cleaning the kitchen floor and throwing the laundry in.
Yeah.
If you can push yourself to do one chore every day when the children are in bed, put a laundry load in, mop the kitchen floor. Then come the weekend, you've got most of your weekend free because you've caught up on the chores, right?
Yeah.
So you want to try and do that. And if you can afford a cleaner, even better, of course. Because come the weekend, you really want to get a balance that you've been to work all week, now it's family time.
Right.
And that can slip off the radar and you can get caught up not putting family time as a priority, and it has to be a priority.
Like all Saturday, like when we grew up, right?
Yep.
That was family time.
It
chores,
was, yes.
all Saturday.
The kids
All
did the chores.
Yeah, absolutely. Break time. More coming up. It's family day.